All right, cool. Well, Randal, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Can We Focus podcast. I don't know what episode number it is. They're all kind of jumbled up right now. I had to move some stuff around. But for anybody watching this that is unfamiliar with your work, Randal Ford, American photographer and director based in Austin, Texas, and author of The Animal Kingdom, Good Dog, Farm Life. You shot covers for Time, Texas Monthly. I think you've done some LL Bean covers or recreations, Field and Stream, clients like Anheuser-Busch, AT&T, Comcast, Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay, LL Bean, Pepsi, Pfizer, Purina, Verizon, Yeti, and, many, many, many more.
Been doing this for a long time. I've been a photographer and director for almost 20 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah. It really is. I think I've been doing it about 15 and it blows my mind.
Yeah, totally. Time flies.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, one of the things I wanted to chat with you about is your books. And because I know you've been pushing a lot of the, art sales, is how I would say it, from the books, right? The kind of the, I don't know if this is saying it right, but the one-off portraits, essentially, framed and delivered to individuals, right?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, I've done 3 books with Rizzoli.
I have this one
in New York. Excellent. So I've done 3 books. So I've done The Animal Kingdom, Good Dog, and Farm Life. And they're all books of portraits of animals, either shot in a studio or shot in a studio-like setting where I've set up lights on location. And it's all in a very kind of singular aesthetic that's very simple and clean. And the background is either a very light gray or a black. And the kind of the hope or the goal with these is to take these and turn these into fine art portraits. Not turn them into, I think that inherently they are fine art portraits, but to market them as fine art portraits to interior designers and different collectors. And so I have worked with about half a dozen galleries across the country that sell my work. And then I also do some direct sales as well. For people that just find me, find me otherwise.
So I remember you had the gallery showing for in Austin for the Animal Kingdom. I actually came out to that and I had invited some friends. Apparently they thought it was my gallery showing that I was inviting them to. And I was like, oh no, I'm just in town for this because it's cool. And that's why I picked up the book from you. So I've actually still got, in the book, I've got the flyers and stuff you had from the gallery. I've just kind of kept them in there.
What gallery was it?
Oh, that was Davis Gallery.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, in December 2018, apparently.
2018. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So what's it like setting up and doing that, a gallery showing like that? Because I know there's often people, other photographers and stuff I've talked to about they're wanting to do gallery shows and things like that. So on your experience, how's that?
Well, I would say careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a process. I work with the gallery to choose different photos that we're going to lay out. And then it kind of depends on what the galleries, how the gallery works. Most galleries, I didn't really know this at the time, but most galleries should front the cost to print and mount and frame your work if you're doing a show at your gallery, unless you're like, saying, hey, I want to do a show at this gallery, and you're not represented by that gallery. So if you're represented by that gallery, then they should be helping fund the production of those, even if it's not completely, at least partially. Because I funded the production of those, and that ended up being a large expense. It took a while. I just ended up having, some pieces that sold quickly and other pieces that didn't sell as quickly. So I ended up having these pieces, on hand for a while.
Yeah, I believe that. And those are some of those are pretty big pieces too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So, I mean, I shoot, I sell fine art prints, either like the smallest that I would do would be like a 30 by 37.5 or a 30 by 30, all the way up to like a 48 by 72. And so, the idea is to go from, like high volume, low cost to low volume, high cost. Just because I think there's a better market for that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been a strategic positioning point as I've kind of leaned into the fine art side of things.
Yeah. Have you done more gallery shows since that?
I've done, I've done probably a handful of different gallery shows, maybe half a dozen, through different galleries that I've worked with across the country. And you just never know, like, how many people are going to show up. Sometimes it's a full packed house. Other times it's not as much. And I find that marketing on either Instagram or social media elsewhere, or email marketing, sometimes can be more effective than the gallery shows. And the gallery shows it's a process of you're there signing books and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to come out to see all the images printed, large format and everything. It was really cool. I'm really glad I made the drive out for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming. I mean, it was. I don't want to understate that. It is quite. It's quite a gratifying process seeing your work up on the walls for the first time. But I'm spoiled that I've been doing this for a while. And so now I'm just like, that's just another Tuesday.
Yeah. That's cool though. So I wanted to ask about some of your previous projects. You have a project that I don't know what you've named the project. I believe it was for a client, and it was basically it was like elderly people doing tech stuff, if I remember correctly. It was like I'm trying to think. I was trying to pull it up. I see I can pull it up on your website.
Okay.
Because it was like a grandma in like a hoodie or something like that.
It could have been. I
don't remember what the project was for though. But then also you've got one of my favorite photos of yours is this woman standing in front of it appears to be like a Spanish house or something like that, and she's holding I think she's holding a portrait.
Yes,
or
she's holding a picture of herself.
Yeah. Okay.
Of her younger self.
So was that a client project, or is that something you just kind of did?
That was a client project. That was for a client called Inovage, which is a in-home care company for elderly. And so what we did, the whole idea is that these people are able to stay in their homes and still have great care as they age. And so we photographed people on sets, either inside their home or outside their home. But they're all sets that we built in studio, and we framed them and lit them so that they would look very stylized, unique, and interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I like that one a lot. That's one of the ones that always stood out to me. The lighting on it's just so nice. And then
well, it's funny. I mean, because that was that out of all of my images, that one ranks up there pretty high on like something that I'm proud of, because that's a exterior shot that we shot inside. It was it was a set that we built. And I was very happy with how it came out. We did we did a bare beauty dish, maybe through a very, very light silk and then made some slight modifications.
That's cool. I also really like what you've done when in some of your portraits, how you have the subject in the same, their wardrobe is made of the same material as like the couch they're on or the bed or something like that.
So that was the couch Cameleons, and that was one of my favorite all-time projects. I would love to further that series and do more. Basically, it was for I believe it was for Xfinity Communications or Xfinity TV. And it was basically people laying or sitting on their couch wearing the same fabric that the couch was upholstered in. And so we shot these all on sets. I do a lot of set work. And so we shot these all on sets and we chose fabrics to upholster the sets with, and then also to make custom wardrobe for each talent. So
that's really cool.
It was an amazing project to bring to life.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is this an idea that you brought to the client or that they brought to you?
They brought to us, and they brought to us, and the budget was tiny. And I loved the project so much. I was like, we've got to figure out a way to do this. This could be really amazing.
That's awesome. That's really great.
So we figured out a way to do it. We shot it in New York in a day, and I just couldn't have been more happy with how it turned out, given the budget and the time.
Yeah. So your I'm Fine series that you've done, is that just kind of a project you've done on your own, or is that a client project as well?
That's a project that I did on my own, that I worked with a special effects makeup artist who does like special effects like tattoo work, or she could do any sort of, we did a commercial project for a migraine product, product that treats migraines. And we basically did this special effects where like she engraved this, like what looked like she was like, it was like cut into her forehead, into the talent's forehead, the word migraine. And so I worked with her on that, and it was just turned out so cool. And then I asked her if she wanted to collaborate on this project to promote mental health awareness, and she was totally game. So the whole idea behind that is, you ask people how you doing, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm fine."
Yeah.
But oftentimes there's a lot more of a story to that than "I'm fine." And so what we did was we wrote, I'm depressed on your forehead, and then we crossed out depressed, and below depressed we wrote fine. And it was kind of a little bit of, I guess, a statement piece to showcase the reality of people that say, "Hey, I'm fine," although there's a lot more going on below the surface.
So is that all done practically then, you said?
That was all practical, yes.
Oh wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. Now, could we have done that digitally? For sure, easy. But I thought it would turn out better if we did it practically.
Yeah, definitely. That's very cool. So some of your stuff you've done is, I remember seeing you did, if I remember this correctly, a LL Bean came to you and wanted to do recreations of their covers from I guess I don't know, 100 years ago or something like that. Right. Yeah. Tell me about some of that. That's really cool stuff.
So that was one of my favorite projects. It was LL Bean came to me and they said, for our 100th year anniversary, we want to do 4 catalog covers where we recreate catalogs that we had commissioned in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And at that time, they had commissioned illustrators to paint or illustrate covers of these catalogs. And they were all typical kind of like LL Bean, like outdoors doing things, fishing, hiking, family road trip, stuff like that. And so they came to me and they were like, let's recreate these photographically. And so we worked with a team in the Northeast, and we did most of it in Acadia National Park, which is an amazing place to visit. And it was one of those things that it was just very well, it was a great concept, and it was very well received. I think the reason those kind of things are well received is because it taps into our love of nostalgia or things from the past.
Yeah.
So, and I also did a similar series based on Norman Rockwell paintings. It was kind of in the same vein, in that same kind of style and aesthetic.
That's really cool. Do you pull a lot of inspiration from older works or older paintings and things like that?
I mean, I do. I pull works from all different, I guess, influences. I've mentioned a bunch of times that Richard Avedon, specifically his series In the American West, is a huge influence to my work, specifically my animal portraits. At the same time, I'm also, early in my career, I was also greatly influenced by Norman Rockwell and his composition, his aesthetics, and the way that he framed things, and also the sense of levity that he brought to his images or his paintings. There was a sense of levity that I think it was interesting in the fact that a lot of this was serious stuff that he was painting, but he brought a sense of levity and charm to it, which I really appreciated. And I think that's something that draws me to some of my advertising work, is trying to take something that's visually interesting or important and bring a sense of levity and style to it.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yeah.
Cool. So what is it like? I don't really know how to say it. So what's it like shooting for these magazines? Like, you've done a lot. I believe you've done a lot with Texas Monthly, right?
I did. Yeah. I mean, I've done over 20 covers for Texas Monthly, and I did some work for Time Magazine. I've done some work for some larger magazines. To be totally honest, I don't do a lot of editorial work anymore. The budgets on magazines is not great. It makes it hard to do that kind of work. And so I've sort of transitioned into doing more fine art to sort of take the place of some of that editorial work.
Okay.
So at the time, the editorial work was a great chance to build my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I was doing more celebrity work, then editorial work probably would make sense. I only do a small portion of celebrity work, which, would of course love to do more, given the opportunity. But based on where I live here in Austin, it's not always a perfect fit. So, it just kind of depends.
Yeah, we don't really get any celebrity work down here in Houston.
We get some here in Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe probably around what is it, ACL or
right.
And people, got all the influx of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So when these magazines, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, to your point, the magazine stuff, it's like, that's changed and become digitized so rapidly, over the last, I don't know what, 5 to 10 years, that it's just, sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I get that. Definitely. So do you have a photo that like everyone seems to love of yours that you're just kind of meh?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, the people love the Norman Rockwell and the L.L. Bean homages, and don't get me wrong, like I love those, but I did them so long ago that they're not who I am anymore as a photographer.
Yeah.
They're not as relevant to my work as a photographer. And because I think that I've stylistically changed to less kind of hyper realistic and more natural, stylized, but still natural.
Yeah.
So I kind of shifted that direction a little bit more. And so I don't care for those images as much anymore, but people still just love them.
Yeah. I love them.
They're still cool and fun. But I would also do them. I would do them differently now. I'd make them maybe more photographic. I'd maybe make them a little bit different. So I would just do things a little bit differently. I also was amazed at how little commercial impact they had on my career.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that the work was very well received by creatives all over the place. They loved it, but it didn't drive any commercial work. They were so editorial or fine arty that they just didn't drive a lot of commercial work.
Oh, wow.
So, which was, I mean, it was a surprise. I was like, oh, this is great stuff. This is going to, this will drive some commercial work, but it was too, in the commercial world, nostalgia is in retro is not something most clients want to lean into.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So when you're not working, you're doing, let's see, cycling, snowboarding, table tennis. Is that all still pretty relevant?
Yeah, I still cycle. I
Yeah.
snowboard. I have a ping pong table in my living room.
Oh, that's great. Do you play with your kids?
Of course, yeah. Play with my kids. We have little tournaments in the neighborhood. We'll play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I love staying active. I mountain bike and road bike and
Yeah,
love snowboarding with my family and whatnot. So yeah,
that's cool.
always stay active.
Yeah. I can't imagine cycling in Austin. Austin is so hilly.
Yeah, the good thing is that you don't have to cycle very long to get a good workout. I can go out and ride for an hour and I get an amazing workout.
Yeah. It's flat down here, so you'll see people cycling all over. It's crazy.
Yeah, totally.
So when you are between projects, or you getting ready to head into a project or something like that, how do you stay inspired, or where do you draw inspiration from?
When I'm in between projects?
Whenever, anytime.
So
either between or if prepping.
How about I'll give you two answers. So on ad projects, it's easy to stay inspired and motivated because I'm inspired and motivated to do great work for the clients and provide them with a great service, provide them with great value onto what they're hiring me to do, which I think is very important for photographers to keep in mind, that you're being hired to create value and to create a service for your clients. And that alone should give you enough inspiration to do a great job. That alone, and your inherent, desire to work and provide and, whatnot. So that provides inspiration from a commercial perspective. From a fine art perspective, what keeps me desired is just my need to create and to progress and to move forward. And knowing that I need to constantly be making new things, creating new things, and really leaning into that desire to create.
Working with animals, you have quite a different experience than possibly a lot of other people with subjects on set. Do you have any standout subjects, like anyone that like favorite, or just or maybe a subject you absolutely didn't like working with?
Well, so on the animal side of things, people always ask, like, what do you like better, photographing animals or people? And that's like a tricky question because it's very, very different. With animals, you have a sense of control that's lost, which I enjoy that. Or maybe instead of enjoy that, I can say that that's healthy for me.
Yeah.
To go through the process of only being able to control so much. With people, on the other hand, you have the opportunity to connect with somebody in front of the camera, and that feeds my soul or creativity to the extent that keeps me inspired. That I love that aspect of photographing people and incorporating people into the photographs. So between the animals and the people, they're very different. But at the end of the day, like I love working with people in front of the camera because there's an emotional connection there that's created that I just absolutely love, and I think is very, very rewarding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The animals can oftentimes be a really interesting and fun experience. I photographed everything I feel like I photographed just about everything under the sun in studio, whether it's like lions and tigers and horses and wolves and chickens and everything to cats and cows and dogs. And from a fine art perspective, from a commercial perspective, like I've photographed all of these animals, and there's nothing compares to a big cat's presence in studio. So a lion or a leopard or a tiger, nothing compares to the presence of those animals in a studio or in a confined space. They're so majestic and graceful and powerful. Their power, it's just absolutely tangible, and it's an amazing thing to experience. And so I mean, I'll never forget the experience of being face to face with a leopard or a tiger in studio, within 5 feet from me.
Yeah.
Hearing like a low grumble from them. It's just, there's nothing like it. So that's kind of the majestic, powerful, awe-inspiring animal. On the flip side of that, you could see, it wouldn't take you long to look into my work to see that I love the charm of cows or cattle in front of the camera, in the perspective of a portrait. Cattle have been part of our civilization like almost as long as anything else. So it's something that everybody is familiar with and you see all the time, but you don't see it under this sort of glorified or like beauty light. And I love the idea of showcasing some of these animals that you don't see in that light. So I love the idea of showcasing these animals under that kind of beautiful, glorified light.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have one specific one that stands out to you the most?
I mean, I love my series on Highland cows. There's an original Holstein cow that I photographed licking his nose. So he had his tongue out, right? Just like almost like he was picking his nose with his tongue. And that was kind of the animal portrait that started it all, so to speak. And so that one will always hold kind of a special place in my heart. But the Highland cows are charming and beautiful, and love those. So
yeah, that's awesome. I remember seeing this. We were in Iceland driving around, and just seeing the Highland cows out there just roaming around is crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah, they're a very docile, like low key, chill breed.
Yeah. So do you have any stories that kind of come to mind from set, like from, I don't know, just unique experiences on set or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite stories is when I photographed Tommy Lee Jones. I was super green. I mean, it was almost 20 years ago. I was super green, and I was trying to make small talk with him, and I'm photographing him and trying to make small talk, and I asked him maybe a question, or it was just kind of small talk, and he just looks at me right through the camera lens, and he was like, "What do you care?" And I was just like really taken aback. I was like, "Oh, no big deal, just making small talk." So then, like a couple minutes later, I'm photographing him, and we're photographing him in this bar restaurant in San Antonio in August, and it's just super hot, and I'm like just sweating bullets, and I'm like, as I'm photographing him, I'm like, "Mr. Jones," which was a mistake, probably calling him Mr. Jones. Probably should have just called him Tommy or something. But I was like, "Yeah, Mr. Jones, I'm glad we're not going outside because, I'm just sweating my butt off in here." And again, he looks right at the camera, down the barrel of the lens, and he goes, "You're sweating because you're nervous." And I was like, wow, this guy is really getting me. And so, I mean, that was quite an experience, especially as a young green photographer that I would handle totally different now.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you do now?
I mean, now, you read the room a little bit differently. Having photographed a bunch of celebrities in the past and having photographed all different kinds of subjects, like, you're like, does this person want small talk or does this person not? And most of the time, celebrities, like, they don't need small talk. Now, if you're photographing real talent for a testimonial campaign, small talk is great because it helps them loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
But like celebrities, like, they know how to do their job. You don't need to babysit them with small talk. And so I think now it would just be more business. It would be like, okay, stand right here, do this, do that.
Yep.
If he razz me a little bit, I might razz him back a little bit, but it would be pretty, like,
cool.
It'd be a little more kind of low key. So I would love the opportunity to go photograph him again.
Yeah. Just give him a call.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard he's pretty salty to pretty much everybody.
I've heard similar, but I've never met the guy, so I don't know. So what do you have going on now? What kind of projects do you have under your nose?
So I've been working. The last year I've done a lot of work with Purina, which has been really gratifying. Just a wonderful group of clients, and it's a great fit because I've done so much animal work and I've also done so much people work. So it feels like a very synergistic fit. I do a lot of work for other ad agencies. I mean, I shoot kind of a little bit of everything in a sense. I shoot some lifestyle work. I do a lot of studio work. I do a lot of sets work. Sometimes animals are incorporated in that. Sometimes they're not. Just all of that, and then keeping tabs on post production and what that process looks like, and keeping tabs on what the general environment looks like of being a photographer. The involvement of AI, how that's being utilized. And so, just trying to keep moving forward, keep my, keep a close eye or close feel on the pulse of like what things are looking like.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. I saw recently you had, I guess this might have been for the Purina project, but you had a bunch of different sets built in a bunch of different colors. Mm-hmm. It looked like it was in a big warehouse and you had a bunch of different little areas per mm-hmm. look. So what was that one?
So that was a shoot for Purina as well. Mm-hmm. And we had, over the course of a week, we needed to do 8 sets. And so what we did was we built 4 sets and then we repurposed and repainted sets at the end of each day so that we could turn those 4 sets into 8 sets.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we were photographing dogs and people in these like really kind of high color, stylized sets that just turned out to be, really vibrant campaign showcasing like people with dogs in a sense of like, in a very kind of stylized manner and aesthetic.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. So what's it like on your set? How do you run your sets? What's it like working with Randal?
You should ask my producers. They would give you a more honest answer.
Oh man.
I try to be pretty low key and easygoing, while at the same time making sure that I'm providing the client with what they have paid for. Mm-hmm. If not more, I want to meet or exceed expectations in all cases. And so I work very, very hard to do that. And I work with great producers that run a tight set, and it's something that's important to me as well. So keeping things organized and tight, at the same time, making sure that we're providing our clients with as much value as humanly possible.
That's good. I hear a lot of people do talk about that, like with their producers, and having a well-meshed team really makes a difference.
It definitely does. Having a well-meshed team, and then also having, the right producer with the right client as well. Because sometimes you can have an amazing producer that maybe is not the right fit for the right client. And so it's kind of like you're like putting this puzzle together for each shoot on like who's the best fit for this shoot.
Yeah.
Not dissimilar on how people choose a photographer sometimes. Like, I'd like to be the best fit for every shoot out there, but the fact of the matter is I'm not, and you're not, and that's just part of being a photographer. Yeah. And you can't be everything to everybody. So I'd rather be, something really great to some people, some folks.
So what's a must-have for you on set? Like, what's something you've got to have?
I got to have sparkling water. A Rambler right here, which is created in Austin by a group of, one of the founders is a photographer, and then I think some of the other founders are some folks from the ad world.
That's cool.
So sparkling water. That's about it. Sparkling water, some good food at lunch, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Do you do music on your sets?
Yes. Yeah. I always do music.
Good.
I think music plays a really important role. Although I need to sit down and like create some like custom play. I have some custom playlists.
Yeah.
In fact, my favorite custom playlist is an 80s playlist that was created by David Hoffman, who plays Doug from Limu for Liberty Mutual Insurance. And I was photographing David Hoffman for a Limu campaign. And I was photographing him, and I was like, "Hey man, do you want some music while we're shooting?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, what kind of music you want?" He's like, "Let's do some 80s." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so I pull up whatever 80s playlist on Spotify that I had, and he was like, "Yeah, this is just too much guitar. Like, can we switch to something like, something more kind of classic 80s?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we got a prima donna here."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, "Do you have a playlist for me that you can just text me?" He was like, "Matter of fact, I do."
Yeah.
And so he texted me this playlist, and it was this 80s playlist that he had curated and is absolutely dialed in. And I just loved it. And we listened to his playlist for the next 3 days, and it was so great. And I use it on every single one of my shoots now.
That's fantastic.
Always are like, "God, what a great playlist. I love this. I love these songs. I love his playlist."
Yeah.
So David Hoffman is not a prima donna. He is an amazing actor, and was an absolute pleasure to work with. And,
that's awesome.
And I joke, I tell him, I was like, "I feel like I owe you a commission by utilizing this playlist so often on set."
That's great. I love my playlists. I've got one for everything.
That's important.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, let's see here. So we're getting towards the end of where I want to do kind of rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
So first of all, what is your favorite snack?
That's a great question. Nowadays, a big chocolate cookie.
Chocolate or chocolate chip?
Sorry, a big chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
Nowadays, my favorite snack, which is not healthy, would be a big chocolate chip cookie after a long, hard ride.
Yeah. After like a bike ride?
After a long, hard bike ride, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Do you want like the thick, soft cookie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from Chick-fil-A, or, we got a great burger joint here that does great cookies, like a big, a 400 calorie cookie.
That's fantastic. So this next one, I'm very interested in your answer, particularly concerning your art series. If you could be an animal, what animal would you be?
It's either between a leopard and a tiger. And I think I would be a leopard.
Okay.
I think I would be a leopard because of I love a tiger and a leopard, their grace and their power, and they're just incredible. I think there's something more elusive about a leopard that I like.
Excellent. And I've already asked the must-have on set. I overshot on that one. So who are some of your influences in your work? You said already.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that I have a few major influences: Richard Avedon, and maybe some of the other classic photographers of that era, like Irving Penn. But Richard Avedon is very important and influential to my work. So Richard Avedon, Norman Rockwell, certainly some other photographers, iconic photographers like Annie Leibovitz that I just absolutely love. I'm a huge, he'll enjoy hearing this, I'm a huge Peter Yang fan, a Texan, a fellow Texan that's really a great person and also a really wonderful photographer. But then I feel like I can walk into any museum and look at the walls and be inspired to make something photographically, whether that's painting or abstract art or sculpture. I love the inspiration that you can find looking at artwork anywhere. And I feel like you can take that and apply that to photography.
I feel like that is a wonderful thing about art, is that art kind of creates art. It always drives for more, which is really neat. So do you have any book or movie recommendations for people?
Yes. My favorite like kind of new-ish show that I enjoyed watching was The Studio with Seth Rogen.
Okay.
It was kind of an unexpected love. It feels like I'm like sucked into like an advertising like commercial shoot. and all of like kind of the inside jokes and fun that's to be had there. So love the studio with Seth Rogen. I love Succession as well. I've watched that a couple times. I think the writing in that show is absolutely brilliant.
Excellent. Cool. And then where's the best place for people to find your work? I know you're on Instagram, right?
Instagram at Randal Ford, with Randall with one L. And then randalford.art is my fine art website, and .com is my commercial website.
Excellent. Very cool. And I did want to ask also, I meant to ask this earlier and I forgot. When you were setting up these shoots with these animals, how are you sourcing them? How do you find people to bring these in?
It depends. So a couple different ways. So I would either work with animal trainers that I've worked with on commercial shoots in the past. So animal trainers in LA that I've worked with a bunch, that either have animals or can source animals for me. And then I've also worked with other. So you've got the animal trainers on one end, and then you've got people that I've sourced on the other end. And we found these people through like random Facebook groups for like longhorns, or Facebook groups for like heritage animals, heritage chickens. Like, so I guess I would say that I source them out in like different avenues, whether it's like more of a professional avenue or whether it's more like kind of grassroots avenue. And I work with producers to help me do that.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, totally.
So how do you find your producers?
Just word of mouth. And I feel like I have producers that I work with in different cities that I like. But all the producers that I work with I've all worked with for an extended period of time.
Cool.
So yeah.
That's very cool. Excellent. Well, is there anything else that I might have missed that you would want to go over?
Well, I think we should talk about AI. I'm curious.
Man,
your thoughts. And
I am AI. This is all.
This actually isn't happening.
I'm torn on AI. I love it, but I love it in the fact that it is a tool. AI has been, even in photography, or especially in photography, AI has been used for years in some facet or some form or another. And now that it's becoming more mainstream, a lot of people are worried like, oh, it's going to take my job or whatever it is.
Right.
But it's, at least to me, it is a tool. It's another tool for you to do your job well,
right,
or to utilize.
Right.
And like, I don't know, it's a whole thing. And then you've got the issue of, AI, when you're creating imagery through AI, theft of creative work and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I mean, I want to do some more learning on the intellectual property rights of AI and how that operates or how that works. That's already a thing. I'm figuring out that. I'm sort of like you. I mean, I'm of the thinking that it's an incredible tool to be utilized at the moment. And then over time, I think it's going to get better and better. That's going to change what commercial photography looks like substantially. What that's going to look like is like, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I think that it's just important. I think I'm always a big proponent of keeping a very close eye on like technology and the pulse of all that stuff without letting it freak you out.
Right.
Trying to harness it and utilize it to your advantage and harness it and use it to your advantage. And at the same time, changing and restructuring what you do and how you do it as technology evolves, so that you can continue to provide great value to your customers.
Yeah. One thing I really like about it, what I've been doing a lot of, is I'll use it for pre-visualization.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take my idea out of my head and I'll put it into Midjourney or ChatGPT or whatever it is.
Right.
And it'll allow me to really visualize how I'm going to do this project, or it'll allow me to try different lighting or scenarios and things like that. It's, as far as that goes, I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, clients are using that as well. And so you're getting a clearer idea from the clients as to what they want you to do. Now, of course, the problem is like when that becomes so clear, they don't need you to use it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that shakes out. I mean, I think it's one of those things that you have to keep a close eye on. I mean, if a young photographer came and said, what advice do you have for me going into this industry? And I would say, don't go into this industry. Mm-hmm. Because it's too competitive, it's too difficult, and it's changing at a rapid pace. I'm like, if you love photography, like go shoot like weddings or sports or portraits of people, stuff like that. Like,
I've told people, I used to teach, I work at one of the local community colleges in the photography department, and people would be like, I want to, like, what do you, I want to be a photographer or whatever it is or anything. I'm like, well, do you want to be a photographer or do you want to make money? I was like, go be an engineer. Like,
yeah,
don't let me tell you not to be a photographer, but if you want to be successful and happy in life, go make money.
Well, I mean, it's okay. I see this on two different sides. On one side of the coin, I'm a big believer of the saying, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Meaning, there's plenty of photographers that don't make a living, and there's plenty of photographers that make a good living. Now, on the other side of that coin, there's a lot more engineers that make a good living relative to the engineers that don't make a good living. Whereas there's a lot more photographers that don't make a great living compared to photographers that do make a great living.
Yeah.
So, there's two sides to that coin. Because the percentage is more difficult because it's such a desired like field to go into, and it's quote unquote fun. Which I'm like, if you want to go into this industry for fun, you've got another thing coming for you, because it can be very challenging and very stressful at times, and so you just need to be prepared to manage that stress.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it, but it does get stressful. And I go through a thing like when I shoot for a client, especially if it's a new client I've not worked with, people will ask me, like my assistant or whatever, or someone will ask me, they're like, how'd it go? And I'm like, I have no idea. Until they tell me they're happy, I hate everything we've done. Like, this is the worst project we've ever had, and I absolutely failed. And because like, it's just that unknown. Like, until the client gets the proofing gallery and they tell me they like what they see, I'm stressed.
Yeah. I mean, I shoot everything tethered, so clients are seeing it immediately. And the only thing that really bugs me with like a client's behavior is if I'm not getting feedback.
Yeah.
If they're like, I don't know. You either like this or you don't. Like, help me out here. This is a collaboration.
Oh man, I
love the collaboration, and so okay, I want to have your feedback. I want this to be a collaborative effort.
I don't know what I would do if they were just like, I don't know. That's crazy.
I'm good at coaxing out answers from clients.
If I'm tethering, I will regularly grab my point of contact and I will just be like, hey, come take a look. Tell me what you think.
Right? Yeah.
And then if they're like, yeah, these look great, I'm like, okay, then I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a client a couple weeks ago we shot with, just product photos for a manufacturing company. And we were tethered in and everything. And I had like the whole setup in their conference room. And she was like, oh, these are great. Cause we're shooting it properly. So you don't have to do much post. And she showed us some of the work they had done previously. And it was bad. It was so bad. I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to screw this project up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah. So do you have any creative endeavors coming up? Anything that you're planning out or wanting to do?
I'm definitely due for a new portfolio shoot. So I'm going to be kind of thinking about that over the next few months as to what that is going to look like.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer that one of the best investments photographers can make is in their own work, in creating portfolio work that is commercially applicable. it's always been something that's paid off for me. And so I'm going to be looking for the next, portfolio investment, so to speak, and trying to figure out what does that look like.
Absolutely.
I kind of have an ongoing list of like things that I think would be cool to do. And so I may take those and kind of pick and choose a few different things and see kind of what I kind of gravitate towards, what's also doable in a time frame. But I think it's very important that photographers continue to do that, not just to stay fresh and relevant, but because it's a good investment in your work and in your career. So I've always been a very kind of business-minded photographer, because I believe that it's important to blend art and commerce, because without commerce, art is just a hobby.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important that you come into photography looking at it from a business perspective and from a marketing perspective as to how you can provide value to the to your clients, to the marketplace.
I feel like doing I like to call them passion projects. Things that, like you're saying, it freshen up the portfolio and keep your skills honed, essentially. I feel like for me, that's like revitalizing also.
Because totally.
A lot of times you get so just stuck in the same day to day with client work or whatever it is. And when you get to do it for your own, it's just fun.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. It feels so good. I try to do, it doesn't always work this way, but I try to do one a quarter.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
It doesn't always work, but I try.
That's a good goal. I think that's a good goal, even if they're not all like a bigger production, like doing something. Yeah.
I'll usually probably do one or two larger production ones. Otherwise, they'll just be some sort of concept or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll get them shot and I'll sit on them for a month or two before I even start looking at them.
Oh, I'm the worst about portfolio work. I'll shoot it and then I will sit on it forever.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
I did one of mine recently. It's kind of like an underwater look, and I thought it came out great. And then I printed it, and it's just like, to me, it still looks really good. It just looks so dark, but it's also because my office at home is really dark. And it's just like, man, it's because it's a lot of dark blue on this photo.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
What do you use to photograph your kid?
My kid?
What camera?
Typically
iPhone only?
No, a lot of iPhone, but actually it's usually a Nikon F3T or a Mamiya 247 or whatever it is, the medium format one. Okay. I shoot a lot of film when we travel, and so I shoot a lot. I shoot her a lot on film, and I have an old Nikon. I think it's an FE, a Nikon FE that does not work at all.
Okay.
And she loves it, and she plays with it, and she'll like do the film advance and do the trigger and everything. Uh-huh. So when she's old enough to kind of understand it, I'm going to probably load up some film.
That's awesome.
And just let her go. Yeah. Yeah. But mostly I take pictures of her on film.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I still have my grandfather's Nikon film camera that I don't think is usable. I'm sure I could repair it where it would be usable. But a couple years ago, I bought a Nikon F100 and that thing is incredible. You could pop a roll of film in there and use any of your Nikon F class. Wait, is it F class? And use any of your like non-Z glass. Yeah. And the autofocus is great, and it's sort of kind of, I feel like you get the best of both worlds. You get the film aesthetic, and you get the modern functionality. And so I've been using that a little bit here and there. Sometimes I'll get a roll of film and I'll be like, oh, yeah. Because we're so spoiled with the dynamic range that modern cameras have. Like you could shoot stuff totally backlit and it looks amazing. Yeah. With digital. But with film, like if you shoot backlit and you don't have a ton of fill, like it looks like shit.
I just always try and stick to when I'm shooting film. I have meters in my phone now that are actually really good. It's like a spot meter built into your phone, and then so I'll do that, and then I'll just try and stick to the zone system if I can. Like as long as I get that going, I'm usually pretty good.
Yeah.
So it was your. If I might be wrong, but was your dad a photographer too?
No, my grandfather was into photography. My grandfather taught me the basics of photography, and then I took a photo class in high school and really enjoyed it. And then I I started shooting for the school newspaper when I went to A&M and fell in love with photography there. Went to Italy one summer and took a Canon 1D, which was a 4.5 megapixel camera.
Oh wow.
4.5. Now they're like 45. And so I still have shots with that that I took, but I went to that camera pretty quickly.
That's very cool. That's very cool, man. All right, so I think I'm probably gonna have us wrap up if you don't mind.
Okay.
I really appreciate your time today. Thanks for chatting with me and joining me on the podcast as I try and figure out what I'm doing.
It was great to be here. It was fun to visit for sure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And then let's see. So for anybody, because this is going to come out on YouTube, probably and eventually on Spotify as well.
Okay.
But for anybody viewing it on YouTube, if you want to leave a comment on anything about Randal's work that or if you are unfamiliar with Randal, go check out his work, his Instagram and his website. They're very cool. I've been following him for quite a while. And then feel free to subscribe and like and all that nonsense.